away tonight.
The shot was after the bell.
I dropped Lewis, I beat him up, and I was getting a knockout.
Look, that's not the way I want to win a fight.
I've got to be honest with you, I want to see it again.
So the news is broke, it's now official. I believe next week we'll have the press conference as well. Joseph Parker will face Fabio Wardley on a Queensberry show. It's called All or Nothing on October the 25th. I'm smiling already. On October the 25th in the O2 Arena in London. There's no mention, to be honest with you, as to whether it's a pay-per-view or not. I don't see pay-per-view, so I would assume, and quite frankly, I would say it's a brilliant fight. I honestly can't wait for it, but it's not pay-per-view. So it looks like it's going to be on standard DAZN. On DAZN's website, it says Joseph Parker will face Fabio Wardley later this year in London's O2 Arena as New Zealander continues his bid to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. The WBO interim champion defeated Martin Bakole in February after Daniel Dubois pulled out of their IBF title clash, which he did. I did actually forget to talk about that in the recent video. Apologies on that. I did actually forget that he was willing to forego that mandatory just to get that clash with Daniel Dubois, which obviously we know never happened. But Usyk's request for an exemption to negotiate over a reported injury, Parker apparently unwilling to wait any longer for his next test, moving on to WBA interim champion Fabio Wardley, who recently knocked out Justice Hooney in Portman Road. Now Parker and Wardley, both signed to Frank Warren's Queensberry Promotions, will meet in a major clash on October 25th in the nation's capital with serious repercussions. If the WBO elect not to accept Usyk's request, the two-time undisputed champion will likely be stripped, with the Kiwi fighter being elevated to full champion status in his position. Actually, so I think we should get word maybe next week potentially on that. And if Usyk does decide to vacate, Parker will be elevated to full champion. They're absolutely right on that. So this fight actually then becomes a heavyweight world title fight. And if Parker were to lose, that would make him shortest reigning heavyweight champion in history, wouldn't it? He'd only be champion for a couple of weeks. He'd break, is it Ken Norton or Charles Martin or Tony Tucker? It's one of them. They had very, very short reigns. That would open the door for the younger Wardley to challenge for a full world title or push for names into the conversation as one of the division's premier operators. There's a lot going on. This is from Frank Warren. Neither Joe or Fabio wanted to wait about and protect their positions, and credit to them both. I believe this is a genuine even money fight with a mesh of styles that I am sure will be eye-catching and highly crowd-pleasing. We promise to keep firing up the heavyweight division, and we intend to keep all contenders jockeying for position until the time comes for the ultimate prize. It's wonderful to be back at the O2 Arena with All or Nothing. It'll be a great show with some extremely competitive and meaningful fights on the undercard. We love to hear that. The event will be the hottest ticket in town. DAZN is the broadcast home of heavyweights, said Michael Ridout of DAZN EVP Combat Sports and New Business. On October 25th, we'll be delivering another world-class clash between two top names in the division. Joe is coming off 3 brilliant wins. All things taken all into consideration, the Bakole fight was on very, very short notice, and looking to cement his position at the top of the rankings, while Fabio continues to prove all doubters wrong and will want to leave the O2 with an unblemished record. All drama will unfold on a special night, live and exclusive on DAZN. I love it. I love this. You know, I think the build up to this fight might not be the best, and I'll tell you why. Because the press conference, all that, neither of these two guys they're not really talkers, are they? We've seen Fabio Wardley be in confrontations and give it back, but he only gives it when he's getting it, if you know what I mean. When someone like Miller or David Lai is being antagonistic, and that's when you see Fabio Wardley, kind of push back and be like, right, let's get into this. It's not going to happen with Joe Parker. Joe Parker is very reserved, it's very respectful with him. He's very confident. You can tell he's like, I'm just going to win, and that's all really you need to say is like, I'm going to win, simple as. So I think the build up to this fight might not be the best, but I think the fight itself is going to be epic. Joe Parker, it has to be said, right, and yes, he is on a good run of form, but out of those 3 fights he's had against Wilder, Zhang and Bakole, only one of them has really been, and not even entertaining, it just had a knockout early, was the Bakole fight. The Zhang fight wasn't, it wasn't particularly entertaining. It really wasn't. I mean, the only moments of kind of, oh wow, were when Parker got dropped. Other than that, it was a quite kind of soporific affair. In terms of the Wilder fight, less said about that, the better. It was a horrible fight, but Parker won. So he's not exactly set the world alight with the performances in terms of, you know, making us compelled to watch. I think, though, stylistically, this will be a good fight to watch. And you contrast that to Fabio Wardley. I mean, you talk about the fight that he had with, what was it, David Alai. I only met him the other day. David Alai, fun fight, entertaining fight. Both fight to Fraser Clark. One went 12 rounds, one went a round. Both of them, you were just like, what the hell? And then obviously the fight against Justice Hooney was entertaining, and then obviously a dramatic moment. I mean, my jaw hit the floor when he landed that shot. So I like the fight. I think stylistically it's going to be good. I think that both guys are going to complement each other quite well. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I would make Joseph Parker firm favourite in this fight. I would, because I think that Fabio Wardley, right, you're only as good as your last fight, right? And he wasn't that good against Justice Hooney. He wasn't. He pulled the shot out in round 10. He did that. But he wasn't that good in the fight. It's fair to say, right? And it's not just that, right? When he's fought guys who, they're obviously not better than him, because they were better than he'd be beating them, or they'd be beating him. But they have that better schooling, the better technique. We've seen it against Nathan Gorman. We've seen it in the first Fraser Clark fight. We've seen it a couple of times in his career. When someone has better schooling, even though they don't win, they're still able to cause him a lot of problems until he eventually finds a shot or takes over, and you know what I mean. Parker is better than all those guys, and he has more in abundance. He takes a better shot than Justice Hooney. He probably hits harder. He's not a devastating puncher. He's got fair power. I mean, you wouldn't want to let Joseph Parker have a free hit at you. He'd knock you clean out. So he's got fair power, a decent chin, good boxing ability. He's defensively minded. He's not going to switch off like Justice Hooney did. I can't see anything other than the Joe Parker win. I really, truly can't. I think that Fabio Wardley had his get out of jail free card that night at Ipswich. He used it, he took advantage of it, he had it, and I think that was the one time he's got it. I think against Parker, I'd be surprised if Joe Parker wins by stoppage. I would be, but I think it's a wide unanimous decision point win for Joseph Parker in this fight. In a very entertaining fight. That being said, it'll be entertaining, and I like the fact that both guys have their interim titles, but both guys are, you know, they're making hay while the sun is shining at the end of the day. They're not waiting for Usyk, because Parker's been inactive. He has been inactive. I mean, he fought Zhilei Zhang last March, and then he fought a guy on 48 hours notice, and that's it. So he needs to stay active. He's not getting any younger. Fabio Wardley has been active, right? He has been. The longest gap he's had is, 7-8 months over the last couple of years, so, you know, making hay while the sun shines. And I think as well with Fabio Wardley, Moses Itauma is coming back, I think, in December in Manchester. Now, a lot of talk was that maybe he'd be fighting Kubrat Pulev for that regular belt. It's not a real world title, which don't even pretend that it is, it's not. But there was a lot of talk about that, and I was thinking, well, how is he going to fight Kubrat Pulev if Pulev is going to fight, or if he's mandated to fight, say, Fabio Wardley or Michael Hunter? Well, I think with Wardley going down this road, it probably opens that up now. So maybe we could get, you know, Moses Itauma versus Kubrat Pulev, which would be an interesting fight in of itself. But this fight, great fight, love it. O2 Arena in London, I'm all for it. Absolutely. I think it's going to be epic. I think that the month of October is looking amazing. It's looking really, really good. The month of November, I mean, the month of November, like, if I don't hit 30k that month with all the good stuff we have, then that's a damn indictment on me, because there's just so much good stuff. Boxing is in, with fights like this as well, boxing is in such a good place. It really, truly is. And I think, although it's kind of like, you look at someone like a Frank Warren, he's got a monopoly of the heavyweight division. And some people say that that's bad. And it is to an extent when it's like, say, broadcasters. But when it's a promoter, and I know we could talk about UFC and the problems that are going on there, but boxing's not UFC. And when you have a promoter like Frank Warren, and he's able to have all these fighters and then do shows like this is an in-house Queensberry fight. He doesn't lose either way. So we're getting a great fight in-house that if he is, so hypothetically, let's say Wardley was with Boxer, Parker was with Queensberry, would we be getting it? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Very unlikely. So it's good in that sense. But love the fight. I think it's going to be epic. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. People, as always, if you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Peace.